What would drive a queen to pawn her country's most precious treasures? This shocking betrayal occurred at least 5 times throughout European history, creating scandals sometimes undiscovered for decades. When monarchs fall from power, their jewels transform into hidden lifelines, the only remaining assets in a world where privilege has vanished. These royal women resorted to desperate measures: gems sewn into clothing, covert sales in foreign countries, and valuables traded for survival. These actions reveal the vulnerability behind royal facades, when crowns become burdens and jewels become salvation. Their stories expose the human side of monarchy that traditional history books rarely explore. Diamonds sewn into hemlines, the Grand Duchess Vladimir's escape. As chaos engulfed Russia in 1917, Grand Duchess Maria Pavlovna faced an urgent dilemma. Her legendary jewelry collection, among the finest in Imperial Russia, sat vulnerable in her palace as revolutionary forces gained control of St. Petersburg. Unlike many aristocrats who fled at the first signs of trouble, the headstrong aunt of Tsar Nicholas II refused to believe the revolution would last. This miscalculation nearly cost her everything. By summer 1917, the situation had grown dire. The provisional government offered little protection to aristocrats, and Bolshevik influence spread rapidly. Finally recognizing the gravity of her situation, Maria Pavlovna orchestrated a rescue plan for her jewels, her heart racing with fear that her family's legacy would be destroyed. She contacted Albert Henry Stopford, a British art dealer and friend with diplomatic connections. In July 1917, Stopford entered the Vladimir Palace disguised as a workman. The palace staff, still loyal to the Grand Duchess, led him to a hidden vault where her collection lay concealed behind a false wall. Over 2 nerve-wracking days, Stopford worked methodically, dismantling larger pieces to make them more portable. He wrapped 244 precious items in newspaper and concealed them in improvised containers, a desperate improvisation that masked priceless treasures as mundane objects. With the jewels secured in a simple Gladstone bag, Stopford began his journey out of Russia. His diplomatic immunity provided some protection, but the risk remained substantial. The collection included the magnificent Vladimir tiara, crafted with interlocking diamond circles from which hung large pearl drops, along with spectacular diamond necklaces, sapphire parures, and emerald earrings. The Grand Duchess herself endured a more harrowing escape. After months hiding in the Caucasus, she crossed into Georgia on foot in early 1918, disguised in peasant clothing. She reportedly had additional jewels sewn into her hemlines during this treacherous journey, a final gambit in her personal dance with fate amid the collapsing empire. She eventually reached Switzerland via Turkey and Greece, reuniting with her rescued treasures. Maria Pavlovna died in September 1920, a refugee in a small Swiss apartment. Her children inherited the jewelry collection but faced financial hardship. With no royal stipends or Russian estates, they sold pieces to survive. Queen Mary of England purchased the Vladimir tiara in 1921. This spectacular piece remains in the British royal collection today, frequently worn by Queen Elizabeth II. Other pieces were sold to various buyers, including Cartier and private collectors. These sales transformed Russian imperial treasures into British royal heritage. For Maria Pavlovna's children, each transaction carried emotional weight, selling the last tangible connections to their former life. The Grand Duchess Vladimir stood among the few senior Romanovs to escape with both her life and a portion of her wealth. Her foresight preserved these cultural treasures while most imperial collections were lost to revolution. The fallen Empress and France's lost treasures. In September 1870, Empress Eugénie of France watched her world collapse as Prussian troops surrounded Paris. Just hours before revolutionary mobs stormed the Tuileries Palace, she fled with only a small handbag, leaving behind the crown jewels she had worn as the glamorous center of European society. Her escape marked a stunning reversal of fortune, from the pinnacle of imperial splendor to a life of exile. The former Spanish countess who had captivated Napoleon III escaped through Paris back streets, guided by an American dentist and her lady-in-waiting, eventually reaching England aboard a yacht. There she would reunite with her husband after his capture and release by Prussian forces. The Second Empire had collapsed, and with it, Eugénie lost access to one of Europe's most magnificent jewelry collections. The newly established Third Republic inherited these treasures, but viewed them as problematic symbols of the monarchy they had overthrown. After years of debate, the government made a controversial decision. The French crown jewels would be sold at public auction to sever France's ties with its monarchical past. The auction began on May 12, 1887, at the Louvre's Pavillon de Flore, shocking European society. For 11 days, centuries of French royal history passed under the auctioneer's hammer. The sale included 69 lots comprising jewels accumulated by generations of French monarchs. European crown jewelers attended, but American buyers dominated the proceedings. Charles Tiffany traveled to Paris and purchased roughly 1/3 of all lots. These royal gems transformed his company into a world-renowned luxury emporium. Tiffany's aggressive buying helped drive the auction, as treasures with centuries of royal significance sold for 6.86 million francs. The sale scattered Marie Antoinette's pearl necklaces, which had survived the French Revolution. The 140-carat Regent diamond remained in France only because the government exempted it at the last moment. The ancient Sancy diamond disappeared into private hands. For Eugénie, watching from exile, the auction represented profound personal loss. Her diamond bow brooch, crafted by François Kramer in 1855, was gone. The exquisite feuille de groseillier, emerald and diamond brooch by Bapst, vanished from French patrimony. Even her wedding tiara, created by Gabriel Lemonnier in 1853, passed to new owners. In England, Eugénie established a modest household at Camden Place in Chislehurst, focused on raising her son while managing reduced finances, a stark contrast to her former unlimited wealth. Many French citizens saw the sale as cultural vandalism, each gem representing a severance from their royal heritage. Yet the government pressed forward, determined to dismantle connections to the monarchical past. Eugénie would outlive her empire by 50 years, watching as her former possessions adorned other women in other countries, visible reminders of an empire that existed only in memory. The Civil War Queen's desperate gamble. In 1642, as England descended into civil war, Queen Henrietta Maria faced an impossible choice. Her husband, King Charles I, was locked in a deadly power struggle with Parliament, and his forces were faltering. The French-born queen decided to take matters into her own hands, risking everything to secure the throne. The political situation had deteriorated rapidly. Parliament challenged the king's authority, and tensions between Protestant and Catholic factions heightened suspicions against the Catholic queen. With royal coffers depleted and parliamentary forces gaining strength, Henrietta Maria conceived a daring plan that would either save the monarchy or cement her reputation as a traitor to England. A gamble that would weigh heavily on both her conscience and the nation's future. In February 1642, she embarked on a treacherous journey to the Netherlands. Hidden among her personal belongings were England's most precious treasures: crown jewels, royal heirlooms, and personal adornments worth over 1.2 million guilders, equivalent to tens of millions in today's currency. Parliamentary ships patrolled specifically hunting for the Queen, but a winter storm provided crucial cover from enemy vessels. Upon reaching The Hague, Henrietta Maria arranged a viewing of the treasures, hoping to attract wealthy buyers. The spectacular collection included the legendary Three Brothers jewel, a pendant featuring three large rectangular red spinels around a central diamond, alongside diamond-encrusted ornaments and ropes of pearls. Each piece represented not just material value, but the fading glory of the monarchy she desperately sought to preserve. Her efforts met resistance. Dutch merchants questioned her authority to sell what many considered national treasures, with some secretly sympathetic to Parliament. Despite claiming royal authorization, buyers remained hesitant. She managed to pawn primarily personal property, raising only about half the collection's estimated value. Later, from France, she employed agents to quietly offer remaining jewels in Dutch markets. The once priceless Three Brothers jewel sold for merely 104,000 guilders, a fraction of its worth in a buyer's market created by her desperate circumstances. Parliament reacted with fury, warning of great quantities of treasure being shipped abroad that will impoverish the state and might fund mischievous attempts against public peace. Roundhead pamphlets condemned her for stealing away the crown jewels. Despite her sacrifices, Henrietta Maria's efforts failed. By 1649, Charles I was executed. The Queen lived in exile, never seeing England again during her husband's lifetime. The jewels scattered across Europe, permanently lost to the English crown, like the last embers of royal power extinguished by the winds of revolution. The scattered remnants of these treasures stand as silent witnesses to a queen's gamble. Henrietta Maria surrendered the physical symbols of her status in a final attempt to save her husband's throne, a deeply personal sacrifice that history has largely overlooked. The Queen Mother's secret sales. Behind the Queen Mother's beloved image as Britain's royal grandmother lies a surprising allegation that she secretly sold valuable jewels to fund a personal passion project. The accusation emerged years after her death in 2002, suggesting she quietly liquidated pieces from her collection to finance the purchase and renovation of Castle May, her Scottish retreat. The jewels in question came from an extraordinary source, the Greville bequest. In 1942, Margaret Greville, a wealthy society hostess, left her substantial jewellery collection to the then Queen Elizabeth. This inheritance significantly enhanced the Queen Mother's personal collection with pieces of remarkable quality and historical significance. In a letter from that year, she wrote, "I must tell you that Mrs. Greville has left me her jewels, though I am keeping that quiet for the moment." This initial discretion may have established a pattern for her handling of these treasures. Despite her public image of wealth, the Queen Mother faced considerable financial pressures. She maintained multiple residences, supported numerous charities, and was known for her lavish hospitality and lifestyle. When she purchased the dilapidated Castle May in the 1950s, it required extensive and costly renovations to transform it into a suitable residence. Her royal allowance likely couldn't cover such expenses without supplemental funds. Beneath the veneer of royal pageantry lay the stark reality of maintaining appearances while balancing financial constraints, a human struggle hidden behind crown jewels and ceremonial duties. The allegations centre on certain pieces from the Greville collection being sold to fund the castle's restoration. Among these lost heirlooms of a bygone era were potentially a diamond tiara and a pearl necklace, though their exact identities remain unknown. Some speculation points to either an all-diamond tiara or an emerald piece, along with a historically significant pearl necklace. The opaque nature of royal accounting made such discreet transactions possible. The deliberate blurring between personal possessions and official royal property, combined with her sealed will, means any potential sales remain officially undocumented. The palace has consistently denied these allegations while maintaining traditional confidentiality around royal finances, which only fuels continued speculation about pieces that seemingly disappeared from public view. These rumours present a stark contrast to the Queen Mother's public image as a symbol of British resilience and tradition. The woman who refused to leave London during the Blitz might have quietly sold historical treasures for personal benefit. Supporting evidence includes noted discrepancies in jewellery inventories and alleged testimony from former staff members. Though without official confirmation, the allegations remain unproven. The situation raises ethical questions about whether royals should sell items of historical significance that many consider national patrimony. Castlemaine itself was eventually left to a trust for public enjoyment, perhaps representing a trade-off between preserving jewels and preserving architectural heritage. If a tiara vanishes without a trace and the palace never speaks, does it become just another secret buried with the monarchy? The deposed Spanish Queen's financial lifeline. Queen Isabella II of Spain had ruled for 35 years when the 1868 Glorious Revolution forced her into exile. In just 3 days, her reign crumbled as military leaders, progressive politicians, and public sentiment aligned against her. She fled across the border to France, leaving behind palaces, crown lands, and state jewels, escaping with only what personal jewellery she could carry. Her downfall stemmed from decades of instability. Political observers had noted her reign's constant cabinet changes, military interventions, and personal scandals. Her unhappy marriage to Francisco de Assis and rumours about her personal life damaged her reputation. These factors, combined with economic hardship and political repression, created ideal conditions for revolution. Isabella established herself in Paris, creating a small royal court in exile. She rented an elegant mansion and surrounded herself with loyal courtiers, clergy, and servants. This arrangement demanded substantial funds, exceeding the modest stipend from the French government. Without access to the Spanish treasury, her jewellery collection became her primary financial resource. She approached selling her treasures strategically. Initially, she sold newer pieces with less historical significance: diamond brooches, pearl earrings, and decorative pins whose absence wouldn't be immediately noticed. As financial pressures mounted, she reluctantly parted with items of greater importance. The royal treasures that entered the market included emerald parures from the Spanish royal collection, including a spectacular suite containing a 27-carat emerald of exceptional clarity. She sacrificed a multi-strand natural pearl necklace that had been a wedding gift. Eventually, even the Malario diamond star tiara with its detachable diamond stars was sold. These sales rippled through European high society. Aristocrats quietly acquired some pieces, while jewelers reset gems for new clients. By the 1880s, some of Isabella's former jewels had reached America, purchased by industrial magnates like the Astor and Vanderbilt families seeking items with royal provenance. Despite financial challenges, Isabella continued influencing Spanish politics, directing funds toward her son Alfonso's restoration efforts. When he ascended to the throne in 1874, her hopes of a triumphant return were dashed as advisors limited her role, fearing her controversial reputation. The depletion of her jewellery mirrored her diminishing political relevance as Spain moved toward constitutional monarchy. Remarkably, while selling her treasures to survive, Isabella accumulated new debts with Parisian jewelers. In 1878, Maison Malario sued her for 146,730 francs, revealing her financial mismanagement. After settling, she promptly ordered more jewellery, trading her legacy for temporary grandeur. Isabella's story shows how deposed monarchs have converted portable wealth into survival tools. Her jewels, once symbols of royal power, became the bridge between her past glory and uncertain future in a world that had moved beyond her. Conclusion. These 5 stories reveal an unmistakable pattern throughout history. When royal power crumbles, jewels transform from decorative symbols into survival tools. Queens and empresses, faced with revolution, exile, or financial strain, turn to their personal treasures as last resorts. The scattered remains of royal collections, from the Vladimir tiara to Marie Antoinette's pearls, now reside in museums and private collections worldwide. These glittering witnesses to dramatic reversals of fortune serve as frozen echoes of lost kingdoms and personal sacrifices. What other untold stories might be captured within the facets of surviving royal gems, silently preserving the memory of fallen dynasties? Which of these queens made the biggest sacrifice? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more hidden jewelry histories.